Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday Matters, because it does. Because it's hump day, because it's that day of the week when we're busy assessing how things are going. Um, so how are they going? How's it going for you? How's the day going? How's the week going? How's your life going? And what's going on in your life? Yes.
Oh, I was just looking to see if you were on yet. I can't see you yet.
Oh,
I'm sure you're on.
department is checking me out. Um, yes, it says I've been live for
All right.
40 seconds now.
Okay.
So, what is going on with you? How are you doing with the new normal, which seems to change literally from day to day? I'm doing a wedding a week from today, and I'm not sure I am. Well, it has to do with the size of the wedding and what the plan was and the location, and it's semi complicated, but it's kind of up in the air as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I plan on being there, but don't want to break the law to do it, and the law changes literally from day to day. So, how's all of that affecting you? How's your mental outlook? How's your heart? How's your spirit doing? Hi, Dana. Happy Wednesday to you, my dear. I can always depend on Dana and Wednesdays. It's been a great combination for a lot of years with just a little bit of time in between. Hi, Peggy. Glad you're there. Hello, hello. Happy to have you with us. Happy Wednesday night. How's your life, everybody? Happy Wednesday, Susan. Oh, let's get you back to a great mindset. Let's do that. Let's get all of us to a great mindset, because that's what's going to get us through the rest of the week and the rest of the month. That's the technical department falling apart, that noise you're hearing.
How just a cat help
A
rearrange my pen?
cat rearranging things for you. Well, they do that. She was complaining a little while ago that the cat was complaining that she couldn't sit on my printer because I have too many things on it right now. And I know I do. It's better that way. So, here we are, my darlings, on Wednesday in the middle of the week, in the middle of the month. November is more than half over. Where did this year go? Where did this year go? It just amazes me. It seems to have flown by. Hi, Lainey, glad you're here. Hi, Brenda, how are you feeling, darling? Are we healing well? Is all going well? Yes, let me know. So, the middle of the week, the middle of the month, in the middle of a pandemic. How many of us a year ago would have thought we'd be where we are today, doing what we're doing today, and wearing masks while we were doing it? I've got to tell you, we went into the bank the other day. Usually I do a lot of my banking just outside. I like the little machine. We have a good relationship. But we went inside the other day, and I felt very strange walking into a bank with the mask on. It just kind of felt like if I had done that a year ago, they would have stopped me at the door. And now they won't let you in the door without a mask. How times change.
Tell them what you learned about Vietnam.
Oh, well, that is kind of interesting. So while we were getting our toes done today, while we still could, actually, that was exactly our wording too, was while we still could before they closed them down again. Um, we were getting our toes done, and Kat was talking to Ryan, who does her toes, and they were talking about how Vietnam is doing with the pandemic. And he said it's really not the problem over there that it is over here. In fact, his brother has just recently moved from Vietnam to California, and and can't get work. That's another whole side of the story. But what he was telling us, or telling Cac and I was eavesdropping, was that over there, because it's so hot all the time, he said it's summer there all the time. There is one season, summer, it's hot. He said because of that, people all wear long sleeved shirts and have their bodies kind of covered up, and they wear masks all the time because it's so hot and hard to breathe. And so, because they have worn the masks, the pandemic has simply not done to them what it has done to so many places. And I thought, isn't that interesting? People who wear it for a completely different reason, but it saves the same purpose. It's sort of accidental competence, isn't it? Don't you think? I hope you think. I think it's kind of important that we think, and that we think about our lives and our spirituality and how that is impacted by the life that we live and the world that we live in. I believe that our spirituality is the greatest help for times like this. That it is a place for us to turn that doesn't require anything but us and remembering. And that when we remember who we are and what we're doing and what the highest and greatest spiritual response can be to any situation, it changes things. It changes our life. It changes our response, which changes a lot, doesn't it? So, what do you do to help you remember to make a spiritual choice? To at least check in with the spiritual choice before you respond in anger or frustration, or before you start feeling like a victim, before any of that happens. Do you remember to go to that place where you can remember a spiritual choice, a choice for the highest good? I know one of the things that I do is my little bracelet that started out as a rubber band, if you will remember. And I just happened to have a nice wide rubber band right on my desk, and so I grabbed it. And I wrote on it, "Life is a spiritual experience." And almost immediately, my sense was that wording wasn't quite right. That it was a lovely reminder that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. But sometimes that allows you to just go, so what? I changed the last word to "life is a spiritual exercise." And then someone who loves me had that engraved on a little bracelet that I now wear all the time. Now, it is much more becoming than the rubber band was. And it doesn't leak ink like the rubber band did. But that rubber band got me through about a week before I had something more permanent. And I have to tell you, it really helped. Having something to look at to remind me that life is a spiritual exercise, then said, okay, how do I exercise my spirituality? And that immediately took me to, what is the highest choice? What is the greatest choice? What will create in this situation, whatever it may be, or in these circumstances, whatever they may be. So, well, I don't think all of you need to race out and buy engraved bracelets, although Kat could probably give you the information if you wanted to have it. That post will show up any minute now, I'm sure. Well, I'm not necessarily suggesting that's what you need to do. What I would suggest is rubber bands are abundant, or a ribbon, something different that stands out that you remember is there, that reminds you to make the spiritual choice. Reminds you that there's more to what's going on than what appears to be. Reminds you that you can make the highest choice, that you don't have to just react. You can respond spiritually. Let's see. Susan says, I hold my breath, count to 10. Good. Ask myself if my emotion is controlling my thoughts and ask God to show me the higher way. Perfect. Perfect. Most of us as children were taught, weren't we, to count to 10? Use that. Use that. Take a deep breath. Count to 10. Who's in charge here? What's in charge here? What button is being pushed and why? And what is the higher way? Thank you, Susan. That's beautiful. Brenda's still wearing her rubber band. It must have held up better than mine did. I do a lot of dishes. It comes with the pets, I think. I feel like I'm always doing dishes. And my rubber band held up actually very well with soapy water. It didn't run at all. And then I got it into some Clorox cleanup water, I think. And boy, it just cleaned up completely. It was a mess. I didn't care. I wore it anyway. And then it got replaced by something beautiful. So, what's going on in your life? And how are you responding to that? So, let me talk about what I was going to talk about tonight, what I am going to talk about tonight, if you don't mind. It's been an interesting almost couple of weeks now since the election, hasn't it? And in the past 10 days, 12 days, I've been asked one question over and over again in various forms. In its simplest form, the question comes down to, now what? I have had a lot of people tell me that they were so focused on the election, they were so mesmerized by the entire political scene, so intensely concerned about the outcome of the election, that was all they could pay attention to. But they say to me, the election's over. The political scene has changed. And even though it's not yet settled, there doesn't appear to be too much that they can do right now. Oh, yeah, and there's the pandemic, but the pandemic has its rules, and the state has its rules about the pandemic, and they tell me they're following those, but now what? The bottom line is they don't know where to put their attention, where to put their focus. They just feel kind of empty and without a sense of what to do next. Some people have said to me I'm not clear about my purpose now. I had a purpose. My life had meaning. And what gave my life meaning seems to have, well, stalled a little for right now. But what now? What what do I focus on now? And the number of people who have asked me that question reminded me of something that I read a long time ago. Let me just kind of jump into that. It was no secret that things had changed. Viktor Frankl's life had already been deeply touched by the early events that preceded the Holocaust. Standing with the other prisoners in the camp under the orders of the German officer, he was removing his wedding ring, his last earthly possession. And it was then that he truly realized that he had lost everything. There are a lot of people in this neighborhood that felt that way almost 3 years ago when the Thomas Fire came through and burned so many houses to the ground. Some people came back from it a little faster and got going on things. Others ran into detours and roadblocks, and some people, I think, have just kind of given up. It's interesting when you talk to those people who have found a gift in the fire and are enjoying their new homes, and those people who have not even started rebuilding but keep insisting that they're going to, and those who are just still in the place they were in December 3 years ago, feeling like they had lost everything. So, there was Viktor Frankl taking off his wedding ring and realizing that he had lost everything. Everything except, he writes, the last of the human freedoms. The freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. In the autumn of 1942, Frankl, his new wife Mathilda, and his parents were sent to the first camp for them. His father died there. 2 years later, in 1944, he and his wife and his mother were moved to Auschwitz. His mother died there. Later, Frankl was deported to Turkheim, a concentration camp near Dachau. His wife was transferred to Bergen-Belsen, pregnant with their child. She died there at the age of 24. On April 27, 1945, Viktor Frankl, whose only surviving relative was his sister who had escaped the terror, was liberated from his prison. By the world's standards, he had lost everything of value. And yet, throughout the experience, he was convinced that his experience only confirmed his theories that there was meaning to life and that even the most unimaginable suffering could be meaningful. He returned to Vienna and began writing about the lessons of his experience. Frankl believed that every prisoner made a choice. A choice to be overwhelmed by and surrender to the horror, or to choose to find a greater purpose in what was happening, which would give him the courage to survive. The secret to living, he believed, was to be found in searching for a deeper meaning in the midst of any calamity. During 1945, Viktor Frankl wrote his now world-famous book, the translation from the German of which is, "Say yes to life just the same." The subtitle being "A Psychologist Experiences the Concentration Camp." In English, the book is known as Man's Search for Meaning. I received an interesting email some time ago. It was a mass mailing from a company that offers IQ and personality and aptitude tests. And it asked a simple question. Whatever happened to your promise to change the world? My first thought was, how did they know? And then I thought, wait a minute. This wasn't emailed just to me. They've sent this email to thousands of people. It was then that I realized the genius of the message. Apparently, it is no secret that at some point in our lives, we all make a promise to change the world. Oh, we may not want to change the entire world. Maybe it's just the part of the world that our immediate family occupies. Or maybe it's the world we work in. Perhaps it's the world or the mindset of our community. Then again, maybe it is the whole world. There's certainly enough work to go around. Then I realized that the whole point of the question was to get my attention. And it certainly did do that. Although I could read it as an implication that I wasn't doing anything about my promise to change the world, I suddenly realized that it might just as well have been a request for an update. My initial reaction was to feel as though I had been challenged and to act defensively. After all, who were they to question what I was doing with my life and promises? My next reaction was a kind of uneasy feeling verging on guilt. I was raised with that. It's part of my religious heritage. I probably wasn't doing all that I should be doing or could be doing to change the world. My next reaction was to wake up, to come off automatic, to stop responding negatively to what I perceived as a challenge, to laugh at how easy it was to fall back on old patterns, and to simply ask myself the question so that I could get my own update. So I took a deep breath, and I asked, what did ever happen to my promise to change the world? When I came off automatically, I not only got an answer to the question, I learned a little bit more about myself. And I was pleased, if not totally satisfied, by what I discovered. I have a mission statement. And although I do not live up to it in every single moment of my life, although I aspire to, most of the time I'm at least headed in that direction. I am changing the world. My life has meaning. And that meaning is not a secret to me. Frankl wrote, "The meaning of our existence is not invented by ourselves, but rather detected." And how do you detect? How do you discover, perceive, identify, determine? Except through investigation. And how do you conduct an investigation except by inquiring, by questioning? T.S. Eliot suggested that it is important for each of us to create a life of significant soil, a meaningful life. I agree. A life that has meaning, has strength, that has resilience, it has purpose. A life that has meaning creates a momentum and attracts resources. A life that has meaning is joyful, creative, empowered, miraculous. So, if you are looking to find meaning in your life, and apparently a lot of people do, and I highly recommend it, know that it begins with the discovery or perhaps rediscovery of your individual purpose, your mission statement. And there are many really good questions that you can ask to facilitate that discovery. Let me run a few by you and see what emerges, what comes up for you. Be as honest as you can be. I'm even going to ask questions about the questions to help you determine your answers. You might want to take some notes. So here's the first question. What comes easily to you? What do you do that other people say, "Oh, that's hard," and you think, "No, it's not"? What do you do with ease that may seem difficult to others? You know, they say that one of the greatest fears, generally, for people, is public speaking. I just can't imagine that being a problem. I do that easily. Second question. What is important to you? If you could only take 10 things, accomplishments with you into a new life, what would they be? Okay. What brings you joy? What makes you smile no matter what? What puts a song in your heart, puts a little jazz in your step? What brings you joy? And then there's the reverse of that. What saddens you? What seems unjust, unfair, unresolvable in your life, in your community, in your family, in the world? What causes you to speak most loudly? Where would you put your time and your money? And what would you give a lot more to if you had it to give? What work do you love to do? What are you doing now or have you done in the past that just brings you joy? What work are you drawn to? What do you love to do? Or think you would love to do? What have you always wanted to do? Always. What have you not done yet that you would like to do? What are your natural gifts? What have you just always done well? What talents have you acquired? What have you learned to do well? Little shift here now. What do you spend most of your time doing? Really? If you aren't sure, chart an average day and find out. Now, what would you like to spend most of your time doing if you had a magic wand? What would you like to spend most of your time doing? What would you pay to be able to do? What would be an honor and a privilege to be doing? I used to say it at Spirit Works that, shh, don't tell the board, but I'd pay to do this. I was just blessed that I didn't have to. What motivates you? What does or what would get you out of a warm bed on a cold morning? Gladly. Who have you always wanted to be? Who do you admire and why? If I could do it all over again. Well, see, as a little kid, I kind of wanted to be a reporter. Lois Lane was like my idol. I thought that would be a great thing to do. And it never really quite went away. I was a journalism major in college. So Lois Lane is, but see, at the same time, I found out about Perry Mason. And I thought that'd be a pretty exciting thing to do. Now, I grant you neither one of those are real people, but they must have been based on some real people, so who cares? They just became icons for me. And if I had taken the Perry Mason route and became a lawyer, which I always thought I'd get to do because they got to speak, and that was kind of fun. It's all around this speaking thing. Then maybe, just maybe, I could have become Ruth Bader Ginsburg or like her. Oh, sometimes wouldn't you like to just put the clock back and try it another way and see what happens? So what would you do if money were no object? If money were no object, that's the magic wand theory, isn't it? What would you do if money were no object? If your bills could all be paid and the roof stayed over your head and everybody was fed and you could go learn to do, what would it be? If you had enough money that even if you didn't succeed at it, it wouldn't be a problem, what would it be? Okay, so later, based on your answers to these questions, ask yourself, what do I really value? Don't just make a list of words. Take the time to define what each of those words really means to you. Not what you've been told they mean, but what they mean to you. And based on your words and their meaning to you, create a mission statement for your life. Use strong, positive, clear words. Make this a powerful proclamation of who you are in the world, what you stand for, and what you are called to do. Oh, and don't worry about getting it perfectly right immediately. Mission statement takes time. You'll most likely rewrite and polish several times before it feels just right to you. Get it right for you. It should move you. It should motivate you. It should awaken something in you. A statement of your life's meaning defines who you are and how you have decided to be in this world. It's the benchmark against which you can measure the question, whatever happened to your promise to change the world? Creating a statement of meaning for your life not only assists you in defining how you move through life generally, it gives you motivation in the tough times and helps to define your joy. Perhaps even more importantly, it becomes the go-to place for direction when you feel that you may be off track or when you don't know what's next. Your meaning should be, a verbal expression of what you hold sacred. It can be as broad as, no life will ever be diminished by having touched mine. Or, my mission statement in this life is to teach love, or peace, or it can be as specific as, I am doing all that I can to end world hunger, illiteracy, to win whatever battle you choose to champion. What is the meaning of life? I think it's to express creation. But wiser minds than mine have argued and will continue to argue the question, I am sure, for millennia, so I don't expect to come up with the end-all, be-all answer tonight. But I think it's to express creation. And ultimately is not the overall meaning of life in general that is important as much as how you apply your understanding of the meaning of your life to whatever situation is at hand. Viktor Frankl writes, a man who becomes conscious of the responsibility he bears toward a human being who affectionately waits for him or to an unfinished work will never be able to throw away his life. He knows the why for his existence and will be able to bear almost any how. Like the bumper sticker says, shift happens. The crops fail, wild animals tramp through your garden, weeds grow in your carefully planned flower beds, gophers dig up your lawn. Trust me, I know they do. A wind blows a tree on the house, bad people come, good people go. It's not what we expected, it isn't what we wanted, but it is what we have to deal with. Frankl writes, it did not really matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expected from us. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life and instead to think of ourselves as those who were being questioned by life daily and hourly. Shift happens. When you deal with it effectively, it creates compost. And in time, everything will come to fruition, and the compost will be understood as an important ingredient in the soil of your soul. The growing place of that which did not exist before. Remember The Secret? It was a major bestseller. Everyone had a copy. The title piqued a lot of interest. What secret? Whose secret? I want to know the secret. Tell me the secret. So here's the real secret. There isn't one. We know the truth, don't we? We just have to practice it. And it isn't just about magical thinking. It's about deep personal honesty and courage. We are all here to express creation, each in our own way. Don't resist the path that calls to your soul. It's the path you were meant to take. And it is the path that life will support. Assess your gifts honestly. Recognize the difference between a fantasy and a talent. Personally, I would love to be on the stage at the Metropolitan Opera. The music is awesome and the costumes are amazing and the environment is elegant. But I don't have the voice for it. I have a sort of sweet little singing voice, and I'm not great with the melody. But oh boy, can I talk. If you haven't got it, no matter how much you want it, take another look at what you do have. Life has fully equipped you to be you, or given you the resources to acquire all that you need to be what you are meant to be. Wouldn't it be a shame to be a mediocre something when you could be a fabulous something else? And then, if you want to give your life even more meaning, share what you have learned and what you have. Don't keep secrets. Take the time to find meaning in your life. The process will enrich you. The information will empower you. The revealing of what you discover will set you free and change the world. And it will answer the perennial question, what next? So keep that rubber band on, Brenda. As long as you can remember, that's fine. Oh, good. Cat has posted where the bracelet came from. Yay, Susan. Hi, Servette. Glad you're here. Thank you. Well, you know, part of my mission statement is to inspire. So if I do that, when I do that, and I'm on a mission to do that, my life has meaning. A great deal of meaning. I love you, Susan. So, now what? Good, Brenda. That's the point. So you don't need to write the words on that if you feel it. If you feel it in your heart, in your spirit, if something in you tingles, yeah, then it's doing its work. Silly little rubber band. Who'd have thought? You know, folks, a silly little rubber band can change your life. If it helps you remember that life is a spiritual exercise and that you are doing what you are here to do, if you take the time before you respond to go to your spirit for guidance, to come from that place when you respond, instead of just reacting. We spend so much time, I think, reacting and so much energy. Take your life back. Take your power back. Respond from the higher wisdom within you, rather than having a knee-jerk reaction to something somebody said that probably shouldn't have ruffled your feathers to begin with. Someone was complaining to me one time about somebody else pushing their buttons. And I said, then why do you wear them on the outside? Why have them at all? Except to be pushed. That's what buttons are for. And as we let go of that stuff that the buttons are there for, we become free. And we're happier. Life has more joy. We have time to get on with meaningful things. It's just a better deal all the way around. Don't you think? And that's where I started tonight, wasn't it? Ah, Brenda. Thank you, darling. I'm reading Dana's. Hold on. Oh, indeed, Dana. You helped a lot of people. You've changed a lot of life. But, you're still here. God isn't done with you yet. That may have been one of your life purposes. I think there's more. So you do different things. You do it differently. You're still here. And you know how I feel about that. If you're still here, God's not done with you yet. You have, and I'm not speaking just to Dana, you have, because you're all here. And I don't mean here in this place on your computer on Wednesday Matters. I mean here on the planet. If you are still here, God's not done with you yet. You may have completed a task. And if you did it as well as Dana did hers, let me tell you, you should be very proud of that. But you're still here. You're not done yet. You're just not done yet. You have more people to love. You have more cookies to bake. You have more truth to tell. More stands to take. More masks to wear. Something you say to a perfect stranger might change their life, and you're still here because you haven't said it yet. And I know with all the love in Dana's heart, she's got a lot more love to give. No doubt in my mind. So, hey, folks, we're all still here. Rapture didn't occur, and we're the left behinds. We're the still here's. And we have work to do. And it may be as simple as sharing your love, as remembering to always think kindly. It may be as simple as working harder to understand others. But all of those things will make a difference in this world. They will. You will. Or you wouldn't still be here. So, we have a few minutes left. Let's pray, shall we? So, close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. If not, just soft focus so that your attention is not on the computer screen, but is moving within now to that secret place of the Most High, to that sacred space within your soul. And take a breath and just breathe in life and truth and wonder and beauty. And exhale anything within you that is unlike that. And another breath in. Fill your heart, your body, every space within you with gratitude, with appreciation for this beautiful place we live. And another breath, and simply breathe in love. Just pure, unadulterated, for no purpose love. Just love. And exhale anything unlike that anywhere within you. Breathe in joy. Exhale frustration, anger, anything unlike joy. Breathe in a sense of wonder. Breathe out cynicism and anger. Simply fill your space with spirit. and know that you are blessed beyond measure, loved beyond imagining, supplied beyond need. Healed beyond any disease. You are a place where God goes forth into fullest expression. And that place is blessed and blessing, whole and holy. And your life clearly has meaning, has purpose. And direction will come just as soon as you acknowledge that. Resources will come just as soon as you reach out. Life, God, Spirit, the universe has your back and calls you forward that you may learn more about the divine being that you are. Let that be your joy. That you are being called by and for the purpose of expressing creation. In you, as you, through you. And let this be your purpose, to express creation, to express your own divinity at the highest level, that you may be and know that you are both blessed and blessing. The world is a finer, greater place because you are in it. May that be your truth. And may you let it be so. And so it is. Well, that's my thoughts for this Wednesday, because Wednesday matters. It matters a great deal to me. You matter a great deal to me. Thank you so much for being here to support me and the meaning of my life, and to support yourself in discovering, amplifying, and living the meaning in your life. Laura says, feels like I've lived 6 or 7 lifetimes so far in this life. Well, yeah. I used to say, in a previous life I did this. In a previous life I was a florist. In a previous life I've forgotten half the things I've been. And somebody once said, oh, so you believe in reincarnation? I said, oh, I don't know if I believe in reincarnation or not, but in a previous life. And they said, well, when was that? And I said, oh, 10 years ago. Things change. Things change. People change. Spirit stays the same. Go be a blessing. Hopefully I'll see you on Sunday. If not, be doing something fabulous, would you? I'll be here Sunday at noon. Same place, same time, noon on Sundays, 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. I'll be here. I hope you will. I know God will. God bless.